विवेकवैराग्यनिधिप्रदाभ्याम् बोधप्रदाभ्याम् द्रुतमोक्षदाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। करुणावरुणालय पालय माम् भवसागरदुःखविदूनहृदम् रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। भवता जनता सुखिता भविता निजबोधविचारणचारुमते कलयेश्वर जीव विवेकविदम्
Tiny group today, with the transportation and metros down and traffic and all of this. Just good. Welcome. Happy to be here.
You got here.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, So let's remain with our eyes closed for a while, just sitting inside. Tiny group today. We can extend to each other. And I think we'll focus on meditation today. Anytime I hear Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, of course that invokes Swami Muktananda's presence, Baba's. And I once had the opportunity to interview Baba for Voices magazine, which is a psychology journal of the American Academy of Psychotherapy. And I interviewed him with a wonderful person named Alex Red Mountain, who was a really great psychologist here and actually created a program for lay people, I always thought that therapy did not belong to psychology or social work, but really it's something that everyone participates in and should have skills. So interviewing Baba, I actually have a recording of it someplace, and I might, it's on those little tapes, and I think I might try and get it transcribed to a CD, play it sometime. But it was really great just having time to ask questions, not only for ourselves but for others. But one of the questions I asked is, Baba, is meditation therapy? You know? And he said, yes, meditation is therapy. As meditation is therapy, because by meditating on your own awareness, within awareness, you will bring forth the experience of your authentic self. That's a good definition of therapy as you can get. He also said in that interview, don't confuse effortlessness with sloth. He would sometimes make these statements and you just kind of have to think what they mean for you. Don't confuse effortless with sloth or laziness. He would also say, in that interview also, meditation is a cumulative experience. It accumulates. The experience accumulates. Not so much focused on merit, but the accumulation of the experience of awareness brings forth authentic self. Of course, by self, he doesn't mean a reified image of oneself or reified affective state, but the self is awareness, embodied awareness, multidimensional awareness, pervasive awareness. And as you and I know, the unfolding of meditation can be articulated and thought many different ways, to each their own. But sometimes we can think of this moving of awareness as a moving of the metaphors of self. The experiential metaphors of self, floating metaphors, huh? For instance, sometimes in the beginning, or even after the beginning, we equate our self with our mind. Winnicott, the great psychoanalyst, speaks about this also, equating the sense of the self with your mind. Did not consider that a happy experience, and did not allow for transformation. And then he would speak about this being able to shift from being in mind alone to being in what he called transitional space, the space of awareness, which is actually the space of the self, the place where the self manifests as this knowingness, this spaciousness, this vitalism, energy, and this light, and this great affection of compassion. So often, as we meditate, Baba would always say also, meditation is not simply a spot, a 10-minute spot. Nothing much is going to happen for you. You can relax, but the transformative power will not take place. Or if you're just in a narrow focus rather than this open focus, but it does take time. So time is important. Time is part of the play of meditation. And he would always urge everyone, like himself, to meditate in terms of time, like 45 minutes, an hour a day. That the process can really unfold. Sounds like a therapy hour, doesn't it? Except it's free. It does cost though, right? It costs time, which is really the most valuable of stuff. So for more often than not, we're in our mind alone, located in mind. For those who come in late, we just had Hari Rama sung so beautifully. And then I brought up Swami Muktananda. So, talking about an interview I had with Baba for Voices, with Alex Mountain, a really great person, and asked Baba the question, is meditation therapy? I said, yes, meditation is therapy. Because if you meditate, and this on your awareness within awareness, this process brings forth your authentic self. It actually takes you, dissolves the false self of being mind alone, a mind that is a configuration, the shadow of past objects, past history, past fields. One final person has come in. Hi, welcome. So we had Hari Rama, Hare Krishna was just sung very beautifully by Patricia. Every time I hear that song, it always brings up for me Swami Muktananda. And once I had the opportunity to interview him with Alex Mountain for Voices, a journal, and was able to ask him this question. Baba, is meditation therapy? And he said, yes, meditation is therapy. In fact, it's a sublime therapy, a supreme therapy, if you actually do it. And it brings forth in you your authentic self, which is awareness itself. And so, part of this process that we're all in is moving, relocating, going uptown or downtown, from being in mind alone, where your awareness is subsumed in a very narrow room, which in and of itself intrinsically causes you vast amounts of pain. And in its experience, dissociatedness from awareness itself, from primordial awareness. And as you and I are located in mind alone, we can feel the narrowness, the lack of breadth and depth of our own inhabitation of this narrow place. In this narrow place is very crowded with internalizations of the shadow of others as objects in our life, as the internalization of places in a family system, as a internalization of events, all that bring forth and make up the very content of our mind. And say yes if you follow me. And also, we can narrow this locatedness. If it's in our whole mind, it's not too bad. And if our mind is relatively working, that's not too bad. But the more narrow our locatedness gets, the tinier the room, the less perception, of experience, of the field of phenomena we have. And we get caught in the concreteness of the immediacy of situations. And we don't see through situations into what they truly offer. Some of us get located in the thinking function alone. We all have our favorites. Jung explored this extensively. But we get located in the thinking function. We think, and we think. And as we do this, we shift into a obsessional state, redundant thinking, which is often locked in unbearable ambivalence, this way or that way, which means no way, no way. Or we shift into compulsive states where we're driven and driven and driven, preoccupied, encapsulated in a thought form. Say yes if you understand that. That will also go no way. Not only that, but it's like being choked. What's the guy running for president? One of his favorite words. He chokes. Trump. But there's a chokiness that takes place in compulsive states, if you've ever been in one. It also goes no place. It's a lot of power, a lot of effort, going no place. And that is what we think is ourself. Some of us get located, especially if you've been in Gestalt therapy, we get located in our feelings, our beloved feelings. Do you feel it? Yes, I do. We get located in the affective dimension. You with me? Which can lead to, they say, into schizoaffective states. Whatever that means, but it's not good. It means you're located in the affect state. And that affect becomes how you see and experience this world, huh? But fortunately, as you may have noticed, it changes affects. We go from one affect to another affect every 40 minutes, 30 minutes. I love you, I love you, I love you. Now I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. But we get located into the affect as the base of our self. This does not bring forth stability. There is no stability for yourself or for those around you. It's like a ball rolling on the floor. Some of us, we all have our favorites, right? Some of us get located in sensation. Yum, yum. More, more, please. And sensation. Some get located in sensation of pain. And all this is not out of free choice. Oh, gee, if it was just choice, this would be really cool. Because choice in the level of mind is somewhat of a delusion. When you and I are in mind alone, there's a very tiny bit of choice. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Tiny bit. Minimal choice. Because choice is a one experience. You win it as you live in awareness. So we get caught in sensation, addictive states, driven states. They're supposed to be self-soothing states because sensation can have a self-soothing function. But as we get captured in the sensation, it becomes addictive, relentless, and the self-soothingness that once came from sensate experience is lost, right? And then it's a very anake, necessary experience that doesn't liberate us and doesn't bring us forth truly the pleasure, the bliss of being an embodied being. Any of you know that one? We all know each of them, right? Some of us are really fortunate. We participate in all of them. Depending on the moment. More, please. Then some of us exist in phantasmagoria. We like to call it imagination, but actually, imagination really is when fantasy is located in transitional space. Then fantasy does become imagination and is created because the field of awareness is moving through it and opening it. Say yes if you understand that. But just being located in fantasy is always having a double narrative. So I'm sitting here right now, and I have another narrative going on in my mind about this entire story. You with me? There's a story here, and I have another story going on, which I'm not going to tell you. Because a lot of fantasy is a secret. It's a nodule. And the fantasy story actually has a salvific component because it sort of saves us from reality. But in that way, it prevents us from living in the real and actually prevents us from having impact on the real. One day, huh? One day. Any of you guys know that? There's a narrative. It just goes on and on. You know, and we love it because that narrative is ourself. Just like when we're in addiction, that is ourself. And just like when we're in obsessional state, that is the self. Or if I'm in my compulsive, driven, yes, for the best of reasons, that is myself. Or if I'm living in the sea of affects, that is myself. You with me? And some of us are even more sophisticated than that. We drop back into our internalizations. You with me? And internalizations are like, they're cognitive, they're affective, they're behavioral, they're like, it's like a little part. You with me? And it's a part of me that comes up at certain times in different situations, different parts arise. You with me? So I start playing out my internalizations. I play them out, especially in certain contexts. These internalizations come forward. Some never come forward in groups. Some come forward only in intimate relational life, right? That's when they arise. Some come forward in groups, but these internalizations are history made present right now. And so we play out these internalizations like a puppet. We think we're doing it, but it's actually a puppet. And to gain access to agency in this entire question of being in the mind is pretty much a nil adventure. Very hard. You may think so. You can do it. Unless we begin to make that shift out of our mind. Out of our mind? That doesn't sound very good. You guys follow these different functions? They leave a function off? I don't think so. That's how most of us live. Paranoia is a good one, yes. Thank you for bringing up paranoia. Thank you so much. I feel better already because there's different, all this stuff is over, there's different ways of looking at this, but paranoia, the internalization of paranoia is so powerful that Melanie Klein saw it as a specific state. So all this stuff has orbit, none of this is real, like anything, it's ways of understanding and thinking. But paranoia is this. On the one hand, to the degree that I have experienced victimization, to that degree, and that I identify with that state, to that quality, I am now going to be in a paranoid state. You with me? I'm going to experience the victim-victimizer state in a very silent way or explicit way. The dilemma with victim or paranoia, as Winnicott points out, it can be arrived at through either bad events happening, you with me? Or it can happen by nothing happening, you with me? So I can be a victim of what did not happen, or I can be a sense of victim of what did happen. You follow this? Say yes. But either way, I get caught in what Klein and a paranoid schizoid state. And it's all part of our mind. This comes with what our mind. That's why you want to be in therapy with meditation, okay? And so the paranoid state is a very difficult state. Someone like Lacan thinks that we're fundamentally paranoid. as I look around, read the paper, watch conventions, I really think it's true. And so to dissolve paranoia in one way or another is a very fundamental task of being a human being, is to free ourselves from being a victim, either from not enough or even too much. Too much of a good thing, too, can create paranoia. Have some more, dear. Would you like some more? More? So too much or too little can result in the same state of the felt sense of deprivation. Raise your hands if you know this. You really want to know this. You with me? This is not a moral discussion. This is a technical discussion. And as soon as you make any of this stuff moral, you're going to find yourself with one more thing. Then your superego's coming in. You with me? You're not already tortured enough by our mind, but let's bring in the big executioner. You with me? The big judge. And we'll make it God to make it really user-friendly. And if you miss the light, you go for the bright, you go for the dull light, or you go for, wait a minute, what light should you go for? The bright light or the dull light? Help me. You're a Buddhist? Is it the bright? No. So at the moment of death, you go for the wrong light. Finished. You wind up barking. This is not good. Or you go and St. Peter says, go to the right, go to the left. And that also isn't too good. So let's forget about that for a few minutes. Because those realms are here, right? Hell realm is here. The God realm is here. Trump's living in the God realm right now. You with me? He's in the God realm. Grandiosity brings us into the God realm. It's great to be amongst them. The food is really good, by the way, if you ever invited into a God realm moment. But actually, eventually, it may be 500 years, but this eventually crash and burn. So these different realms and animal realms, all these different realms are here.
Can you say more why Trump is in the God realm?
Because the God realm is, you are a God, you're a deity, and you're omnipotent. And whatever you say is true. And not only that, but the little ones believe you. They believe you. And the more they believe you, the more you think you are God. Demigods, they call them actually, demigods. So we know this enough. So how to take that step? Now that we're worn out and exhausted from this, let's close our eyes for a moment and we'll go in. So, there's no one way of doing this. But for our sake today, let's suspend our mind a little bit. How do we do that? If you and I, and we'll do it with our eyes closed first, if you and I can simply gaze within. You ever gaze at the sky, you ever gaze at the water, you ever gaze at a picture, you ever gaze at a person's face. You just can gaze in this room right now. You gaze. You gaze with your whole body. And the suspension takes place. Or you hear music, or you do a mantra, and you become absorbed. And awareness begins to manifest itself. As you dissolve your mind. As you dissolve your favorite fixation point. It's really a catch-22, isn't it? The first step seems the most difficult. So we suspend and free awareness from being so located as a particular function as mind. We focus, we reverse into this awareness. Now, every time I'm doing this, my eyes closed, I'm getting a little help from this person sitting right here. I'm leaning into her a little bit. So if I'm stuck in my mind, I'm reaching out, extending out through my awareness, not my mind. And then I connect to that awareness. And then if I want to go further, I might extend to Fran over there. Sure enough, not my mind. Extending to Fran in my mind, or not. So one of the key issues in this whole thing of skillful means and wisdom gnosis is, again, the catch-22. The mind has to be in awareness, or we have to be in awareness when we're doing these practices. Because we're in mind alone, or go into mind to do a little movement, what happens? We're back in the mind. We're back at the beginning point. So bringing that back, extending back into awareness now. And now, the metaphor of self has dropped and is now in another dimension. It's in my chest. So now, the self, myself, is this space. And I'm located down. And out of habit, my mind is also coming down. And then energy from the earth is coming up. And I'm understanding implicitly that all this is self. And in this moment, I'm in a receptive state, not passive, like a cow, but receptive. And then the arising of this sense of presence, there-ness, here. And I'm experiencing this space, this knowingness, is expanding in my body. It's just happening. I create a circumstance, and then it happens. Some call it grace, some call it givenness. Good luck, good fortune, grace, blessings. There's a givenness to this. And since I started speaking about Swami Muktananda, I've heard the chant Hare Rama Krishna being sung. At the level of awareness, Feel that connection to that archetypal being as Guru. Mind level person, actually, awareness. It's awareness revealing itself. Gift. In a Zegiz, there's like a moonlight light, blue, almost like blue darkness with light. And it does have a felt sense. And at this moment I know not as a thought, but I know as experience. I can have a thought about it, but I don't have to have a thought about it. I know directly. C'est moi. And the more I meet this and in-own this, I have to actually in-own it. Or I think it's a little visitor. So I in-own it. It's pervasive. C'est moi. And I'm established. In spite of my insane mind, I'm established. And I also feel a kind of spacious detachment. Not a detachment like holding my breath. Not the detachment of annihilating everything around me. Not the detachment of thinking everything is as if it's real. Bunch of wannabes, but not really. Not that type of detachment. But a detachment of spaciousness, of differentiatedness, and at the same time, because now this awareness, since I've done it for so many years, is extending out. Just naturally expands. My perception catches up with its already there-ness. And then, though I'm differentiated, I feel this subtle oneness. The kind of at-homeness in this immediate context of this situation. Being a limited person, highly prejudiced, at least at this moment, there's many moments, I feel the immediacy of the situation. That's enough for me. Maybe on a better day I might feel it with the whole world, but if I can go 20 feet to this side and 30 feet to that side, I'm in good shape. Makes it very functional. It's a good aspiration. Just where I'm at. Now, I'm going to integrate my mind. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. Yes, I do. No, I don't. I'm going to integrate my mind. And I'm going to integrate my situation. Now, we go back to staying in awareness. Can you stay in awareness even though I'm blabbing away? Can you stay in awareness even though I'm blabbing? And that you're hearing through awareness and not in mind alone? Can you feel that difference? Hearing in awareness and not in mind alone? I'm going to read this moment from my friend, like I've been reading. He's working on the same thing we are. Hi, I've been continuing. Stay in awareness. Don't leave it. It's seductive, isn't it? You hear the voice, takes you out. You really want to understand it, so you leave awareness, so you can understand it in your mind alone. Bypass that type of information. I've been continuing my efforts to experience all appearance as part of open awareness. I'm not sure whether getting this is a result of continual practice or simply reconditioning. Or will this simply arrive naturally by itself? We hope it's the latter, right? You follow that? I do continually find myself getting lost in phenomena and lost in objects, as if there's almost a spontaneous movement towards them, but then suddenly there's a gap with the awareness, and, and then I get caught in the continued pattern of being either lost in the object or just lost in myself and not feeling the ongoing continuity between the two. So, is it noticing and returning, noticing and returning? And I wonder at times whether this shift is possible outside the extended retreat. He's a very practiced person. So I read a little note to him. And when I write this note to him, it's because he and I are in relationship at that moment, even though we're doing it through the email. If I'm in relationship, two awarenesses are better than one, and something better is going to come out of my mouth. Do you understand that? You should really understand that. This is not a solipsistic thought. It's born out of the relational moment between myself and this friend. The absorption within the objectification form will open within the object, the form itself. Spaciousness, radiance, vitalism, or energy, and the resonance will manifest, and the indivisibleness will naturally manifest, and maybe has already manifested, or been manifesting. And sometimes in the absorption of the experience, the object forms disappear, and sometimes they remain. And then he says this, thanks for your recent note. It's actually been helpful. Your suggestion to let forms open up from their inside, on their own, feels more natural to me. As I was working, I started pulling in objects to the open space, or integrating them, or blending them, or allowing them to metabolize. And then within that effort, I fall into dualism of mind and awareness again. You guys follow that? Say yes if you do. So that's tricky in all these practices. Some of us have been practicing the Vajrakalaya, the Purva, the dagger. And if I really think the Vajrakalaya is that little dagger there, or I think it's the effort of my mind alone, that splitting will affect nothing. You with me? Maybe hemorrhoids. But nothing will actually happen unless that integration is there. I know I'm going over this and over this, But this is a fundamental difficulty many of us have, is in that way we don't live in the field. We do not live in the field. So let's go back again. Hope you're not pulled out by the words. So you might notice how there's a pull from language and you're sustaining the stability of your awareness. And we'll bring mind into our awareness again. So now we're going to integrate our mind. Or blending. And I like meditating with my eyes first. I like integrating two traditions. I like Shaivism, which is often a mind-closed tradition. I also like Togel gazing, Dzogchen. But first, I like being in awareness, eyes closed, and deepening the non-duality of mind and awareness, which is really liberating. And as I'm in awareness, space, light, energy, and yet soothingness at this place. Because as you and I enter awareness, first we're in the mind, then become aware of the mind. That's a nice start, but it's just a start. Some people stay their entire thing watching their mind. Ooh, like, ooh la la, watching your mind, oh my God. Putting your head in the toilet and flush it 7 times and it's still there. Shit. So, we have to give up the addiction of watching our mind and become aware of awareness. What I would say, becoming aware of transitional space, entering that space. So now I'm there again. And as I stay in that space opens up. And I begin to feel the space from being contained in the sphere of my body as it was going beyond my body now. And as I start to feel the field of this awareness going beyond my body into the indivisibleness with this situation, and that moment, that's a remarkable moment for me when I begin to feel my own self. Yeah, myself. Rudy as field. Wow. Feel the space. Openness. Energy. Vitalism. Chi. Take place. And then I'm establishing myself there. And to use that language, the kayas begin to open up for me. Plain ordinary person. The kayas begin to open up. Accessibility. Wow. This is where the magic begins. The magic of the Vajrayana. The magic of the Shaivite. This is where non-duality is easy. So at this level of flesh, room, mind, people, dogs, I'm focusing on my mind. And actually, I can't quite find it. That's a good sign. It's not as obvious. So it becomes less obvious. It doesn't mean those functions are not there, but they're more integrated within my awareness now. That's a good thing. Phew. Don't go to sleep. So now, when it's not there, I know it's integrated. more integrated. If I want, I can play with bringing up some favorites of my mind. Like I might even bring up victim. To search for that too. It's pretty much not much memory either. But I can bring that forth. But it's bringing forth through awareness-mind union, not just my mind stretching for it. Say yes if you understand that. And then I just hold that victim with love, compassion, but I'm dissolving that quality. I'm dissolving that part. I'm metabolizing it. I'm now the blue-throated Shiva who drinks oceans of poison. I'm drinking a thimble, actually. But I'm doing that. This is meditation. This is therapy. Now, once I've metabolized something, and sometimes if I can't find it, I know it's not there. That's great. No mind now. My voice, my speaking is coming from awareness from inside my body, rising up. So, I might focus on integrating the situation. But I think because I heard Hare Rama Hare Krishna, I'm going to invoke the archetypical dimension, Sambhogakaya, for myself. Sambhogakaya and Namanakaya unit section. Because all these things are not so split as we like to think of. So now I'm going to focus on Swami Muktananda. And I'm going to focus on Swami Muktananda as Swami Muktananda. I'm going to become Swami Muktananda as me. So I'm focusing now. I'm invoking that. I'm going back a little bit to the memory of Patricia chanting, and then I'm using that moment to know, and because of practice. Practice does make perfect. Without practice, I'm an asshole. True. Big asshole. Blabbing away. So now I'm invoking that presence. I might use the form of that person, Bama, or I might enter him, or I might just invoke it because I practice. The Guru, the Logos, self-revelation. The power of transmission, the power of the light, power of generosity, power of lineage. Ordinary person, totally ordinary. But at this moment, I think I'm other than ordinary. I'm falling into the God realms. A form of Donald Trump. Serious. So I'm totally ordinary. Now I'm invoking that. So now I'm seeing and feeling through those eyes. Hearing through those ears. And this is a Namanakaya Sambhogakaya. And because of this manifestation of the archetypal, I'm there. And then I'm so rising right now, the understanding. And everyone does this their own way, right? This is not the way. I know Saturn, Mars are in conjunction right now in Scorpio. It's a very powerful combination. It's fire. It's blazing fire with air at the elements. So now I'm slipping into that, holding that fire element. And then I'm slipping into Sambhogakaya, which is Dushe Trulo, I love a lot. A wrathful form of Guru Rinpoche. And I'm holding this now. I'm feeling this fire coming through me, around me. And I feel the capacity of even more dissolving aspects of psychology. Dissolving is actually integrating psychology. Now I'm holding that. And now I'm going to extend to a circumstance for someone. Extending through a circumstance means being open to that energy coming through me, through a person or a situation that I know. And I tend to do this where I feel love rather than the others. It's better for me that way than for others. Though in certain situations, I will use it the other way. But I have to do it very carefully, that I want whoever that's being focused on, that they're being liberated. And so my body's a vehicle. I don't necessarily buy a lot of the other machinations of mine. Maybe some people can. Certain highly developed people can. But I do know I can focus the light. And it's up to the light, the fire element, what happens. Say yes if you understand. Sometimes we can get located in technicalities that are beyond our capacity. It can be forms of magical thinking. So now I'm staying here in the fire of Dorje Trullo. And then immediately how things work, I feel the Lama who gave that empowerment. Dorje Trullo, and I feel gratitude to him on a personal level. That's also integrating myself personally. So now I'm integrating the situation. And we're able to integrate the situation because of the archetypical bringing forth. And I'm integrating certain people more than others. I'm actually being pulled to the fire element of certain people. And that elementalness, that space, is where the Kunyungsio arises from at the elemental level. Say yes if you understand it. It doesn't have to be that way. And out of that support, I'm now just focusing on the appearances. And the space coming forth. that's being given. It's a given. It's the givenness of phenomena, the givenness opening up. I'm not the doer. I'm riding the horse. Now the situation. And then I'm feeling this expansion of indivisibility. And I'm feeling with certain people, with everyone on the internet now. And seeing is better than thought. Actually, seeing has its own manifestation. That's why seeing phenomena, perceiving into phenomena, is like gazing into the sky. So at this point, let's stay in awareness and let's see what's happening for us. But I'm going to ask you to be painfully brief. And I've had the freedom of making comments, but it takes a little extra work to make a comment and be in awareness, because comments can bring us out. So let's just see where we're at. I'm going to actually go to the internet first. How you guys doing? What's happening? Can you hold this mic, please? How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. I'm taking anything that comes up and I'm watching it. Well, no, I'm experiencing it dissolving from the inside and feeling it in my inside.
You've just helped us all, because this is non-causal thinking, actually. I am watching, experiencing, better word, I'm experiencing manifestation. So there's a little causality at times when I'm shifting, but that's actually because it's arising in me. So in the realm of manifestation, the self-manifestation of awareness, I'm giving up causality more or less. Sometimes I'm using causality language-wise, but in a certain way, this is a non-causal experience. A-okay?
Very much so, yes.
That's really, really, when you talk often, it helps, brings us a bit more into the heart of the matter of living in this non-causal realm. The mind brings meaning and cause. Awareness is the manifestation of its own self as its different dimensions. Hi, Anne. Good to see you after all this time. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's so good to be back.
What's happening?
Well, I'm sitting in increasing fire, so I'm feeling them arising of them, I guess, in Bogakaya with Muktananda and the fire blazing, and then the unity with the group, which is which is amazing, being so far away.
Yes. So all of this is ultimately non-local, isn't it? It's all descriptively non-local. Let me see what else I see. Jan, how you doing? Welcome. In your new condo.
I'm doing well, thank you. I definitely feel the energy of everyone together through Zoom and with you. And it's been an interesting process of what you're talking about is insights are arising, and it feels like they're arising in the field, so that the mind feels like it is integrated into awareness, even as I might think about something.
Well said. Really helpful. And is that Helen McAtee over there? Nice to see your house. Hi. Good morning. Do you know how to unmute it? There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's happening? Could you hold the mic a little closer to the machine? Thanks. What's
Well,
happening?
it's quite beautiful. I could feel the fire arising in you, and actually the light. And it arose in me, and I was thinking of someone who's having great difficulty right
Yes.
now. And I watched it arise in her.
Beautifully said.
And um, and even as we speak, I feel it arising in her and in me and in you and the group, and that continues as I speak.
Yes. You know, that statement you're making out of your own direct experience is is the truth of self-manifestation of non-duality because ultimately relational life, though seemingly me and you, is profoundly non-dual, and in the heart of hearts it's manifesting me and you, manifesting us. And there's, in different phases of life, in this life, there are certain people who the non-duality is manifesting us in very powerful and direct ways. You with me? And it may be manifesting people in China too, but we may not be so in that particular configuration. But it's really, really true as it manifests in us, and we holding it, especially if we, even when we're not thinking it, because what we think is a very small dimension of what we really are aware of at this level. And also, it really brings and frees us from thinking what we're doing mechanistically or in world alone is the only power that's there. You follow what I mean by that?
Completely, because as I continue to do this, I become aware that the light of awareness is manifesting her family and generational field and my family. And I can, it's not just the group in the basement,
That's
which I'm
absolutely true.
very, but it's really very profound on a familial and generational and
Yes. You and yes,
morphogenic field as well.
yes, morphogenic field is a great word. You and I, even as we sit where we're at right now, are expressions and manifestations of the generational field. So primordial awareness is manifesting itself, both in terms of our own individuationness and as the generational field. That's why we always honor the ancestors and the generational field and the epoch we're in. That's why every time we see a person and we extend to them, it is never ever to them alone, right? And that's really fantastic. And it's beyond life, and it's beyond what we call death. It's in the present, it goes to the past, and goes to the future. And that is really why Young Tongue Rinpoche's, though it's expressed elsewhere, about our capacity with the fire element to extend into the present of a person, goes right beyond them into their generational field and into their connections, and also goes into the future, and most amazingly, it goes into the past also. So as we feel this possibility, and your words help bring us into that, and we feel the possibility of potentiality. Do you guys feel that space of indeterminateness arising in you? When you feel the feeling of indeterminateness arising in you, that is the Dharmakaya manifesting itself, which is completely indeterminate. Is that making sense, Helen, to you?
It's making complete sense to me, Ruth. And what's opening for me is that the person's past and literally the building blocks, their DNA, their neurological system, the wiring of their brain is open to this light.
And so what I'm doing is I'm shifting my awareness of time, and I'm working with it in their infancy, and it seems as powerful and real going back in time as it is dealing with their present circumstances.
Yes, in a way, if you are in timeless awareness as a very ordinary person, then we're living in the four times are available. And the four times, timeless awareness, as we're accessing right now, or especially as the Sambhogakaya realm, or even the Manakaya, as that which is arising out of timeless awareness, that action can arise in the present, it can arise in the past, and it can arise in the future. However, you have to be a little careful with doership on this. You with me? And if you take doership, huh?
I have to be careful with what?
Doership, that you're the doer.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful with doership. Because if you go into too much doership, you will become the doer, and your mind will encapsulate the practice, and you will be burdened by failure and success. You with me? Winning and losing, and also the burden of the other's existence can be sitting on your lap. So doership is one thing you do not want to take too seriously in this. You and I are vehicles, and everyone here is vehicles, but you don't want to take doership. We're going to pass on and see how my neighbor's doing here. How are you doing in your meditation?
I've had a very physical kind of experience this morning. I mean, it really started with a portal of light, and when you talked about fire, it may have actually been fire, I'm not sure. And it was opening above all of us, but at some point we were all part of it also. And a lot of physical movement in I don't know, I think it's the reptilian brain. Just shifting and some understanding of what you're speaking, but the more we're into it, the more the physicality is coming to me, and I have difficulty with some of the concepts.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Let's see, Kanu. Would you pass this to Kanu over here? Staying in your awareness. What's happening for you?
I'm hearing, but everything is very far away. Like I'm hearing and sensing very far away. I heard my name, and it kind of came more into my mind.
What's it like to feel that far awayness? What's it like to have that openness of far awayness?
The felt sensation is like being in a sea of consciousness. Just I feel like that pea soup feeling, that kind of thickness.
Like the sea, huh?
Like a sea.
One of the great Dzogchen descriptions is the sea, huh? Sometimes being the mountain, and what's it like to be the sea?
Be the sea.
Being the sea, as the sea.
Well, the first word comes to me as melting. Melting. And now as I'm speaking, I feel tremendous heat fire. And to be in the sea of consciousness is free. There's like no, all those things that you were talking about earlier that I can bring to mind, non-existent.
Non-existent. Gone.
Gone.
Gone. Gone. That's really gone. You with me?
Yeah.
Gone. Now notice how you're in awareness, you're functioning, you're talking, and yet gone. And you're present. And you're working. It's all working, but gone means you've moved. You're no longer living in the little boxes. You're in the sea of awareness. Do you ever hear the song of the Sea of Love?
Yes.
Isn't that a great song?
It's a great song.
Everybody yearns for the Sea of Love, and yet they're afraid of it as they approach it. Huh? Let's pass it to the lady right next to you, Fran. How are you doing, Fran? And what's happening now?
Right now I'm afraid. Right now I'm feeling afraid.
Okay. Would you like to stay there? Would you like to just stay in afraid?
No, I don't want to stay there.
Okay. What's it like to access, for you, the power of the archetypical dimension right now? One of the things we like to think is changing dimensions, like in physics. And sometimes you can't solve the problem at the level you're at. Family therapy, we call it second order change. You with me? But systemically. So let's make a second order change. Where you're at now, there's fear. So let's consider, and you have to actually sometimes you have to think this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's invoke the archetypical dimension for yourself. Would that be okay with you? Let's see if you'd like to do that.
I've actually been trying as I've been sitting here. The whole morning I've been trying to do that.
Have you extended to us, or been doing it by yourself?
I've been extending to the Divine Mother.
Okay.
And trying to then kind of situate myself in that energy rather than
Sometimes
in my mind.
If it's not working,
Mm-hmm.
so what I did, I extended to this person next to me first.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes to go right, this is for everyone, to go right into the archetypical is not always easy. And so, to go, and if we're in, that's what okay. So, you want to go into Namanakaya, flesh, if it's closer. There's more than one way to solve any of this. Mm-hmm. So if it's not available, then you enter Kanya. If you can.
Okay. I just want to say that I've tried doing that, and then I feel this resistance.
Okay.
I've tried. It's like there's part of me that's refusing to cooperate this morning.
Then let yourself just refuse to cooperate and enjoy that bliss. Pass it on to somebody else.
Thank you.
Pass it to Jeff. Okay,
Jeff.
Patricia first, then we do Jeff. But sometimes just enjoy refusal and just feel the bliss of refusal. Okay. Thank you.
I am being bathed in green, purple, and golden light. It's just bathing me, which often happens here and elsewhere. And then as you were speaking about the various places we can get located and the internalizations, I went deeper and deeper into my own soul, into my own self. Like you said, there's Rudy. I went into Patricia, and I was watching those other places sort of with whimsy and affection, and the knower knows that those are just locations, that I am not those things. And then I went deeper yet beyond the personality into a very deep place that's my authentic true self. And then underneath that, there is a profound stillness and silence that I can rest in.
Are you there now?
I am.
Would you just allow yourself to dwell there in the stillness and the silence for a while?
Yes.
And just hold being in that dimension.
It's so profound to know that it's there and that I can go there.
As you do, I'm going to ask Fran, what's it like to know, not with your mind, but from your understanding, that refusal is a manifestation of awareness itself, as valid as everybody else's? What's it like to know that?
Well, right now I don't know that. I feel like I'm the poor student.
You're the poor student, okay?
Yeah.
What's it like to know that being the poor student? Would you like to know that? Would you like to stretch that far? That whatever is manifesting is awareness. Because that's really...
Well, I feel like I'm more like in all the categories you were describing at the beginning.
What's it like to know that all those categories, each and every one, and this is you're bringing the most serious part of our discussion right now, okay? That every category, compulsive states, phantasmagoria, paranoia, sensate, is completely the light of awareness manifesting through you at a particular moment. And to think otherwise is to create duality, better, best, good and evil, and right or wrong. And that you're working on this for all of us.
I'd rather have what she has. It actually helps to think about it that way.
Stay with this. What's it like to know that I really, really, really rather, that is my heart desire, I'd rather have what she has. And to feel that is the manifestation of primordial awareness.
It's actually what you said earlier is actually helpful. That this is what I'm experiencing because I am experiencing this. It's like a brat inside of me that just is like just not refusing to cooperate. My brain knows things. I've had experiences and I can experience the presence of the Divine Mother, but nothing is. I'm just separated. So thinking about that as being also an aspect of awareness.
Can bratness be your doorway into awareness by really opening that door and making it your own?
Yes.
What's it like to feel that potential?
But it's like a acceptance that makes it all okay. I had like a feeling of like relaxing inside, like that's okay, which is extraordinary because that's really what I need in my whole. Like if I could do that in this lifetime, I think would be great. That would be, I want to be way further ahead, and being able to accept where I am and see that as an opening to where I need to be is very helpful.
Do you like the word pantheism?
Especially. No. I hate that word.
Hate that word. But do you mind? Tell us why you hate that word.
No, I don't hate that word. I just feel separated from it.
You feel separate from it.
I feel separate, like I'm not a pantheist. No, I have had moments where I experience the light in everything, especially children and flowers, but I've experienced it. But right now it just feels like 1,000 miles away.
Okay, great. Do you mind owning that? Being 1,000 miles away. Just making that yours. As much as you can.
Honestly, I do mind.
Can you own that you do mind?
Yes, I can own that I do mind.
Great, thank you. Jeff. What's happening?
I like you, Fran.
Thank you, Fran.
So like Kanu, I'm having sort of a big ocean experience, and it's really deep and wide, and the feelings of waking and dreaming and sort of the dream time and the deep sleep are all kind of fused together. It's kind of a big smear, and the forms are very gentle in this space. They're sort of effervescent, kind of fluttering. And there's a gentle heat, and it's kind of like slow roasting. And the thing that's sort of getting roasted is this sort of narrative arc, or this artificial person, the story of Jeff, and its kind of insistence on its version, being dissolved. There's still a hard nugget in it, but the boundaries are all softening.
Beautifully described, Carlos. Do you like that sense of roastedness, being roasting?
Do I like it? Yeah. Yeah. It'll happen if I like it or not.
Yes.
But yeah, I do.
What's it like just to feel the possible fun of roastedness while you're this roasting? Part of this drama
Yeah. There's a view that's been growing for me, which is I go to the movies and I immerse myself in a story that I don't control.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I'm into it, whether I like it or not. And so I don't control it, but I'm attracted to it, and it's vivid. It's a show. It's worth seeing.
That is so useful, because as you're saying that, I realize that everything is a manifestation, absolutely everything. And at this moment, choice, freedom has no presence in this moment of discussion. And even if choice seemingly arrives, that is also a manifestation. And if no choice is present, that is also a manifestation. That everything, absolutely everything, is a manifestation. This story, manifestation. Thank you so much. Diana.
I'm having a great time, and it's a very California day. Yes, I was going to mention that. So beautiful, but it's here, and it's so beautiful. The change of seasons is fabulous. Yeah, and I love the interchange with Fran, because I remember one of my biggest blocks was having a lot of fatigue, and I'll never forget when you said, "Can you enter in through fatigue?" And that has been a revelation ever since. So I'm just in a very contented, full, organic, blissful state.
Let's pass it to Caribs here. What's happening?
Well, Muktananda, I just wanted to say that word means, that name is the bliss of freedom, the bliss of liberation. And I think for me, this meditation, you're leading us into your meditation, was so freeing for me to release the, like I said last week, the thises and the that's in my mind into into that space of freedom. And there's such support and such grace to for me. And yesterday I worked really hard on all of this stuff, so I had one of those crazy mind days where I think I went into everything that you talked about. I know I had all of them. Yes. And I did the same practice all day long. I did the same practice with every issue that came up, you know, every thought that was an aberrant thought. I was like, where did that come from? The brat, you know, all of the ones, the anger, the misjudged, the victim, the when's it going to end, all of this stuff, all of the humanness that sticks to you, you know, and it doesn't want to let go. It just want to, you know, like a leech.
Like humanness as path.
Yes. Yes.
Humanness as path.
Humanness as path. Yes. And it was very freeing, so I'm very happy to just be here.
Let's pass it to the person right there. His name I'm forgetting at this moment. No, right there. No, you have the mic. Robin, yes, Robin.
What happened, my experience is a little bit more closed in. The mind is almost like one of the planets, and I can pluck it if I want, so it's just out there, which is a nice feeling when you said the mind's kind of gone. So that's very, that's just a flip of the Ferris wheel. It's just a different focus. So that's very, I guess, relaxing. And then you said something about opening it up, and I realized, oh, there's this habitual, even though I opened it, there's a habitual kind of closeness, and just to let that go. It didn't do anything, but just to kind of know that that's free floating. So that's just very, very, very freeing. That's
openness is, I remember when my friend was describing the openness, and that awareness is from more the openness itself of every aspect, that openness. What's it like to experience that openness, if you will?
It's interesting because it's not open yet, but I know it's there. So it's not even potential. It's just pre-potential.
Thank you, and shift to Marla.
Well, this conversation about with Fran is very rich in that what's coming to mind is the notion not this, neti neti, and that through not this, I enter that place of pervasive oneness. And I loved the elemental because I could, like when something particular arises where I have a particular affinity for getting stuck, just even when I know it's my turn, then that particularity can come. Then I can meet it in an elemental way as I extend to you all. And then it's not that.
Do you like meditating with others?
I do. Yes.
Why is that moment? Why is sometimes two awarenesses better than one? Maybe not for everybody, but for you.
Well, I mean, really frankly, it enables me to trust my own experience of awareness and enter into it more fully with more abandon.
That's really, really helpful. Would you stay with that and just articulate it a little bit more? Why, paradoxically, meditative state with another person halfway in?
Well, I had a funny flash that I remember when I used to get high and how, there was something about passing that joint and not being by myself that gave me that permission to let go. And it's almost like that, that sense of okay, it's like, I can meditate on my own, and I do, and I don't need necessarily from that place of desperation to have others. And yet when there are others, it's like, it's so much more fun to be in the ocean playing with others,
Do you even let's say you're by yourself in your room or wherever, do you meditate with others who are not physically present?
Yes.
Tell us
Yes.
about that, that non-dual meditation through duality.
Well, recently, I shared this with the morning meditation group. It's like it's a council, and I'm a member of that council. And in that council circle are the teachers and spiritual friends, and it's entering into that circle, whether those people or presences or archetypes or generational connections are, they're not there literally in the flesh, but they are there in the experience.
What does that mean? They may not be there in the flesh, but they're literally there in the experience. It's a very important discussion.
Well,
what does that mean?
the energy is alive.
The energy is alive.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, that energy
It's very much alive.
is not simply the energy that's in the immediacy of the physical situation.
Right.
It is not simply the energy that is in your body, and even in terms of the non-localness of your not mental intention, but the relatedness opens up the non-locality, the unboundedness of primordial awareness through companionship.
Yeah. And it can be a very embodied, visceral experience. And it's also a field phenomena at the same time.
Right, so would you mind bringing the microphone over to the person sitting by the little lamp over there?
Kate?
Kate, yes. Almost out of time, aren't we? Go to the other side of the room here.
What's happening?
It's been such a rich morning. I so appreciated going through your meditation, and as we were, I say your, it was really a we experience, and I had this real sense of, a felt sense of each movement, definitely feeling that fire in really powerful way, feeling all the different movements in such a felt sense way. And as I've listened to others speak this morning, this power of invocation, I felt myself really leaning in as Patricia spoke, as Fran spoke. I really felt the arising of the Divine Mother, just as her mere mention, and that force of really her presence coming through her, and Baba, and just this capacity, the possibility of moving through these stuck points in my humanness, in a non, without the superego, in that non-judgmental, which I still, find myself in, absolutely. So
Meditate by yourself, or do you meditate with others, or both?
I'm doing both. Right now, it's more the group presence in the morning, which is just quite wonderful.
Physically or non-physically?
It's on Zoom, right? So it's not.
Meditate by yourself. Say physically by yourself. Are you meditating by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you meditating with others?
If you're asking me if I'm what the experience is like if I am by myself.
Yes. Do you meditate with others even if you are physically by yourself?
Yes. I'm physically by myself, and then it's through the extension that I'm very aware that it's not a solipsistic, it's not simply a physical body by itself, if that makes sense. I'm there in this, it's this presence, the divine presence really moving through me. And allowing myself to open as a vehicle, just as an opening, as a portal.
When you open as a vehicle or a portal for yourself and your companions, whoever that is,
Mm-hmm.
what happens?
Oh my gosh, such beauty and light and expansion, and just as you say those words, I really feel this
What happens between you and the person who you actually enter awareness with? What happens between you and the people who you enter awareness with? Nothing happens. Or does something actually happen?
Nothing happens and everything happens. It's this complete, the one heart, these
Does this have to be romantic to have power?
No. Mm-mm. No, it's a sweetness. I'm feeling a lot of sweetness arising out of it.
What's it like to know it doesn't have to be romantic to have power?
It's liberating.
and the fire and the elements are just that capacity is so, and the elements moving into form is is oneness.
Let's see where Elizabeth is at here now. We'll end up soon. Hi, Elizabeth. What's happening for you?
I just feel very present to a space inside of me that feels very free and open. And I've been experiencing the sharings. The words have been informing and really wonderful, but what's been more interesting is to experience the frequency of energy that's been coming through each person as their voices transmit. It's truly been a banquet of transmission from one teacher. Each person has become that teacher, transmitting that energy, and it's
Primordial awareness, the guru,
yes,
comes through each person
yes,
as they articulate their experience.
yes.
The guru, primordial awareness, manifesting through them.
And as I experience that, I meet that in me more deeper and deeper and deeper.
Do you like the deinstitutionalization of that moment?
I love the deinstitutionalization. I love the word pantheism.
What does the word pantheism mean to you?
It means
People, for some reason in culture, pantheism has a, oh my God, pagan animal.
I feel like we experienced pantheism today. I feel like it's many paths and one light. And that when I can open to that, there is not any particle in this world that has light in it that is foreclosed to me.
That's why that statement, Swami Muktananda and all the great masters of non-dualism, Dippy on right, Dippy on wrong, Dippy on good, Dippy on evil. What? Let's have one more person. Let's have Lorette share her experience, and then we're done. We're cooked. Hi, Lorette. What's happening?
Oh, Mars, Saturn, and Scorpio are over here. And
Perfect for sadhana.
yeah.
It's so powerful, really. It's like, oh God, it's so strong. It can help you cut through anything and everything.
If it doesn't kill you. So today I've found the so when Kate said it again, it was that that is the recurring mechanism for not being subsumed in the drama of this energy field.
Mm-hmm.
The just opens up this space that is free of the drama. It may not last very long, but it's free. And then I really loved hearing about people listening to all of the voices and realizing that in this state, not everybody gets through. Some voices, some of the light of God, and some people get through, and other voices it doesn't. But the internal really is repetitively the vehicle of returning to the state.
Would you mind chanting it out loud just a little bit? So when you say it, we're feeling it. Doesn't be super chant, just we're going to just say it a couple of times for us.
Ah. Ah.
Thank you so much. We'll rub our hands together, place on our heart. Thank everybody for coming here today. And this Saturday, I think we'll have here Vajra Kalaya Day, Dakini Day. And Jeff's thing's gonna. What time?
Thank you so much, Dr. It is Jeff had to leave a little bit early. Jeff had to leave a little bit early, but wanted to share. There's 5 more places, I think, for folks who would like to come and hear Jeff at our office. It's 5540 Connecticut. And just email him if you would, just RSVP to him if you will be coming, just so we can keep a count. Oh, it's from 1 to 3 on Saturday. At our office. Yep, it's 5540 Connecticut. Email him. I mean, you could do it's.
Would it be
Okay.
with all of you if I put this on the Wednesday listserv? This is going out on the awareness list.
Okay.
Some of you are not on it, so you may not have heard it.
And his email, I think, is jeffcollum@yahoo. So yeah. So, but Amy's got it. It sounds like.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And we should have the microphone hopefully put on soon. Just have to wait till Idam does that.
Going past my mind, included Baba, those, because back in the early Baba days, it was the drug days. He used to have compassion for people. He used to have a lot of compassion for people. So I heard stories about his. It stops at a certain point. Oh, right.